chapter 10 of Cisco's Xenia Security. My name is Diego Alberto Scatelara, and today I'm explaining only the chapter 10.1. Well, the first chapter is overview of Asdm. Basically, it explains that Asdm is a Java-based key tool that is a friendly interface that permits us configuring, monitoring, and troubleshooting Cisco Asdm device. It uses SSL to communicate with the device. In this case, we use a computer or a laptop to communicate, and we establish in two forms that I explain after. In the chapter 2, explained about preparing for Asdm. In this case, explain the configuration by default. It talk about by default it is assigned to VLAN 1, but must be enabled that as a web server is disabled by default, and that it operates in a closed policy. Therefore, all connections to HTTP server are denied. In the mesh of the bottom, we can see the process to configure Asdm to connect. Well, when us use Asdm, we have two ways to use. In this case, like a standalone application or like a web server. In this case, we use Cisco Asdm like a standalone application. Only we have to start the launcher, and it comes with SSL connection. In the other hand, run Cisco Asdm like a Java Web Star application. In this case, we need to use a web browser like Internet Explorer or such as Mozilla, Firefox, Google Chrome, Opera, and others. In the videos that we see in the past class, the Donner crawling talk about Internet Explorer is the preferred for this operation. Well, the chapter 1 or 10.1.1.4 homepage dashboard explain about the dashboards of the application. Basically, it consists in the tabs or characteristics that we see in the dashboard. We can see connection statistics, drop packets, scan and scene attack detection, and are two characteristics that we need to install complements, like intrusion prevention that a person only see on if this mobile or car is installed, or the other content security is only see if this is installed in the Asdm device. Well, in Asdm page elements, common page elements like the image shows, we have the menu bar on the top, toolbar, device list button, and the status bar. Finally, the chapter 1.6 Asdm configuration and monitoring views. The navigation plane of the configuration view is the next characteristic that we see. The device setup, firewall, remote access, VPN, site-to-site VPN, and device management that we see in the image in the bottom of the interface of Cisco Asdm. To navigation pairs of the configuration well it's the same. In this case, only we have the launch wizard in the image that we can use to configure.
Hello, my name is Blanquistela Monroy Martinez and will show the topic Asdm wizard menu. It is the 10.1.2 platform Cisco security. The content in this time is the wizard startup, different types of the VPN, other wizards, the installation of the ASA 5505. Asdm wizard. The Cisco ACMD offers several wizards to help simplify the configuration of the appliance with Startup Wizard, VPN Wizard, Availability and Scalability Wizard, Unified Communication Wizard, Asdm Identity Certificate Wizard, Packet Capture Wizard. The Startup Wizard. The startup gives the administrator the initial configuration of the ASA and helps define basic settings. It provides a shows the modified exchange configuration or to reset configuration to factory defaults. Initial the configuration, the wizard, the ASA 5505. It provides a basic ASA management configuration consisting of the host name, domain name, and privileged access password. Optionality, this step also allows the administrator to deploy the ASA for a remote worker. It is Windows, then the configurations, the host name, domain name, and privileged access password. It provides the options to the show or create VLAN switch interface. This step the specific of the ASA 550 model. The configuration VLAN 2, VLAN 1, the interface used in the configurations. It provides option to map the physical layer to switch port to the logical names VLANs in the provision step. By default, all switch ports are you assigning VLAN 1. Assigning ports, the VLAN 1, the VLAN 2. It indicates the inside and outside IP address for the different VLANs. Note that this address could also be create DHCP or PPPoE. Configure the address for the router it's used. It allows the administrator to enable DHCP server for inside host. All DHCP related options are defined in this window. It allows the administrator to enable PAT or NAT. Configure no address translations. Use network address translations is a NAT. It specifies which hosts are allowed to access the ASA using HTTPS, ACDM, SSH, or Telnet. The specific what used in these configurations. It enables the administrator to review the proposed configurations. Change can be made by clicking the back button or save the clicking finish. The VPN wizard allows administration to the configuration basic, site-to-site or remote access VPN connections, and associated the pre-share case or digital certificate for authentication. The different types the VPN wizard include I am mentioned, site-to-site VPN wizard, AnyConnect VPN wizard, client CCL VPN wizard, IPsec remote access VPN wizard. To implement the wizard, Asdm also provides the ICSM Asdm. The other wizard, high availability and scalability wizard, use the configuration failover with high availability and VPN closer load balancing. Unified configuration wizard, use the configuration the ASA to support the Cisco unified communication proxy filter. It's the other wizard in using the configuration as a 5505. Asdm identity certificate wizard. This wizard creates a self-signed identity certificate and configures the ASA to use it when establishing SSL connection. The other packet configuration wizard uses the configuration and run capture for the trouble hosting errors, including validating a NAT policy. It's the other wizard helps to configuration the ASA 5505.
Hi, my name is Luisa Nayeli. Today I speak about the configuration manager setting and service. The first point, talk of configured setting and Asdm. To configure the hostname, password, system time, interface setting, and routing, using the tab Device Setup. To configure a variety of factory, including manager, access, user, listening, login, and more, using the tab Device Manager. The second point is the configuring basic setting in Asdm. To configure a hostname, domain, and activation password, using the tab Device Name and Password. To configure legal notification using the tab Banner and can be created and edited. The third point is the configuring interface in Asdm. To configure the layer 3 interface, the ASA can be created, edited, and deleted. To configure interface of say interface in VLAN, only add your IP address and click the Add button. To assign the interface of say is need add it the to VLAN 2 and that you do in tab Advanced. Select the switch port tab and the various port setting. If the Ethernet not enabled, then click Enable Switch Port. Check Finally, save the configuration in Asdm. The next point is configure the system time in Asdm. In the Windows display, the time can also be configured the time and day of dynamically with NTP server. You can configure it from these windows in IP address and parameter the NTP server. The other point is configure routing in Asdm. The administrator can configure the routing for dynamically. And before finish, let's talk point configuring device manager access in Asdm. Access can also before configuring manager in access for tunnel CCH servers. To enable the access, only you add the IP and request the information, and then click OK. In the Windows scan to before the SSH specific finality task of configuring DHCP server in Asdm. In the Windows can enable DHCP server service. Can also to configure the inside or outside DHCP, and finally the chapter 10.1.3. Thank you.
Hi everybody, my name is Jose Eduardo Martinez Montes, and now I'm going to explain you what is the best way of configuring advanced Asdm features. So let's see. Okay, we're going to see objects, access control list, dynamic NAT, dynamic path, static NAT, AAA authentication, and service policy. This is the content. Okay, we know that Asdm is the view and is the interface of the ASA, and it helps us to configure of a easily form the ASA device. So first we have the objects, and from this window the administrator can add, edit or delete a network object. To configure a network object is too easy. Just we have to go to configuration, firewall, objects, and network objects. In this window we can do everything about objects. So here we view, and we can see that it's a easy interface, so it doesn't represent any problem. In the second point we have access control list, the ACL. How we know the access list permit us to define the traffic that is going to go into our network, and by this way we can permit or deny. So in Asdm the access control list refers to access rules. It's how I say it, and this can be created and maintained using the access rule page. Obviously there's the interface of the ASA, that is Asdm. So we go to configuration, firewall, and access rules. In this window we can see the firewall and the source criteria. In this part we can add, delete or edit the rules for the traffic to the network. The dynamic NAT, how we know the NAT is the network address translation. This tool permits us to send a package out of the network, but without endanger our network. It means that the router, in this case the ASA, will convert the private network to a public network. So we have to configure this network object. The dynamic NAT is configured in Asdm by creating two network objects. This is so important. These objects are one that identifies a range of usable public IP addresses and another that binds the inside addresses to the outside addresses. That is why we have to convert the networks. Then we have the dynamic path. This is the protocol address translation. It's similar to the NAT. Dynamic path is configured in Asdm by creating a network object. Yes, it's just one object. If we want to configure that, we have to go and click in configurations, firewall objects, networks, and then click add network object, and this will open this window. In this window we have all the properties of a network object, and how we can see there is the dynamic path, and only we have to specify the IP version, the IP address, and the description. So if you can do it the dynamic NAT, you are able to do the static NAT. It's similar. So, but in this case, the static NAT enables an inside server to be accessed by outside host. In this case, the static NAT permits us to that a host that isn't in the network can connect to it. So to configure it, we have to click in configuration, firewall objects, networks, and add network object. And the window is similar to the static NAT. Then we have the AAA authentication, and we have to configure it on ASA, and this gives us more security. The steps to enable AAA on ASA are: configure local AAA user accounts to the local database. Step 2, create a AAA server group. Step 3, add servers to the server group. And step 4, configure AAA authentication. And here we have the interface. It's really easy too. And like the final point, we have the service police using Asdm. And here we can add, edit, or delete service police. And just we have to click configuration, firewall, service police rules, and this will open the service police rules page. And all these have to see with the firewall. And right there, we can configure all it. So how we see, just we configure advanced features in Asdm. So if we do it, we will have a better performance. Let's see. Bye.
Hello everyone, my name is Diego Alberto Gerardo Lara, and today I explain you the chapter 10.2.1 site-to-site on Asdm as part of Cisco CCNA security course. First, I show you the diagram of topology that we work in this exercise. We can see two networks or two lines. In each we have one device or firewall. Also we have two routers, and the communication is across public internet. We have finally a network, and a gateway for each network. Well, I realized the configuration basically like we can see in the videos. First, total, we realize or we try to connect with a ping to the devices, but the connection is refused because the ASA device is not configured. First, we apply the command conft to connect with Cisco ASA mode configuration, and we apply the command crypto is a cam enable outside because we try to create a crypto is a cam protocol and enable in the outside network. Later we create an object network called netlocal, and this object is assigned to a subnet 192.168.101.0, and the mask is 255.255.255.0. Also, we create other object called netremote, and this is assigned to subnet 192.168.102.0, and the mask is 255.255.255.0. We create two objects, but the reason is that one object is used to connect in the way that we are into the private network. In the other hand, we try to connect with the ASA device across other network. In this case, we are in other LAN, and we try to connect across the internet. Finally, we apply the common exit to leave the configuration of object networks, and we apply an access list. In this case, apply to outside network. Well, and the name is outside one crypto map. We try to permit IP protocol, and we assign this access list to object called netlocal. Also, we create a tunnel group assigned to 192.168.0.12 with the type IPsec / and L2L. In this case, this means LAN to LAN, like is Donner Crown explaining in his video. That is not 131. In this case, is L2L. Two, we create a tunnel group. Is the same with IPsec attribute, and in this case is all to me. Thank you.
Fine. My name is Blanquestela Monroy Martinez, and from this moment we will set the phase 1 consisting of the exchange of security keys that have already been created, so we'll start the creation of the VPN tunnel. In exchange, IPsec case configuration is performed. We begin with encryption is a camp. We put in the command line crypto is a camp policy 10 authentication pressure. We note that the number of the policy just introduced can be any number between 1065 536 because it uses a label used as grouping authentications. We begin at the put our security within this tunnel will place on our command line crypto is a camp policy 10 encrypt 3Ds. Crypto is a camp policy 10 hasha. Finally, we put algorithm Diffie-Hellman. Crypto is a camp policy 10 group 2. Crypto is a camp policy 10 lifetime 86400. That put crypto is a camp IPsec transform set, APA, ESP, 3D, SHA, ACP, SHA, HMAC. Now, we will generate the crypto map to outside network with the IP address of the port that will connect. Now, we must indicate that it should take into account the access list that we created earlier. Finally, a default route that serves to confuse the router and then not allow attacks directly. Configure it because he estimates do not know. Finally, make a ping and the router is successfully connected. Hello, my name is Blanquestela Murray Martinez and will show a little of the bug Cisco Access Security Appliance. See the topic Access Configuration Remote Access VPN. 5. The diagram shows that will work on managing workstations that you connect via Ethernet and serial console cable to the ASA 5505. Can work with any other ASA that's a low configuration VPN. Has connect interface outside, lock on the IP address for use through the video. You can optionally connect your internet router public. Find equipment software requirements. Cisco Access Security Appliance with base licenses and CCL certificate installed. One computer serving a managed workstation connect to the inside interface including Java support in the browser. One computer serving is a VPN client running Windows Vista, Windows 7 or Windows 8. Console cable connect to the serial port on the management workstations and the console port on the ASA. Terminal emulations, software source is PuTTY. Prerequisites. In order to exercise your show, have the following. Unrestricted privilege mode access to a Cisco Access Security Appliance. Summary of steps. 8 steps. Create a connection profile. Choose VPN protocols and certificate. Add a VPN client image. Configure authentication. Configure a DHCP pool for remote clients. Configure name resolution server. Enable NAT exception. Configure any connect client deployment. Disclaimer. This video provided solely as a courtesy to the viewer. There are no warrants whatsoever. Do not attempt these procedural productions forward without peer testing that the security at suitability and laboratory environment. Performing this procedure may open your firewall to the public internet and the subject network to attack. Make sure have current backups and take precautions including data encryption and additional access control to protect sensitive data.
Hi, my name is Luisa Angeli. Now let's see how to make a VPN connection. Which are first, let's start with we select VPN and any connect VPN. We open the window, we click next. In the Windows will name of the connection. We select the certificate, the DP. In the Windows we click add button. Then say to imagine the select and give by click next. In the Windows add the user name and password. After we add the name of the port and IP address, click the next. Also add the DNS server. In the Windows only select click next and finally click the button finish. In the window show the date and if you are a ring, click the button send. In the Windows can see that was create your connection. Now they open the browser and watch the direction display. With the say login and we'll write the user and password that we write above. In the Windows only guide, click the button yes and we appear the box, click and run, and that this installing after a box that say that this installation on the computer and to confirm that is installed in the bar tag upper icon. In browser, text the connection right in the IP address. If even tell error, we wrote the command in the command line and try again. I look more the text in the file browser write the IP address and open the Windows and to conclude the VPN connection with our VPN finally thanks you.
Hi everybody, I'm back, and in this time I'm going to show you how to configure Cisco as a transparent mode. How we know the Cisco ASA could be configured by two different ways. One can be enrouting and what we will see the transparent mode. Okay, so let's do it. But the first step here I show you the network diagram for the exercise, and this diagram help us to understand what is the transparent mode. How we can see all is on one IP subnet. Okay, is our LAN, local area network. And if for do it we have to know the command line because all have to do by this way. So here we have the management workstation with an IP static address that is 192.168.1.254/24, and in the same network we have the ASA configuring transparent mode and a router. This router is the ASP network, the internet provider service. So here we have the diagram and let's configure it. So we can advance. In a general form, the summary of steps are on first part we have to configure these points. So switch the ASA to transparent mode, then enable and configure each of the physical interfaces, then configure each of the VLAN interface and assign them to the bridge groups. In the fourth point, we have to assign an IP address to the bridge virtual interface for device management. And the last point is enable the HTTP server for management through the Asdm graphical interface. So in a general way, these are the steps we have to do. So let's do the command line. Here we have all the commands that we need to configure to the transparent mode the ASA router. So first, the first command is show firewall, and this will show us the status of our firewall. It means the mode. Once we see let's to configure terminal, the command is config-t. And then we have to the configuration of firewall transparent. This is the command. Now we have to see once again the mode of the firewall, and this time we can see that it changed and is transparent mode. So now we can begin to configure all the interfaces. So we begin by the interface is 0-0, and the first step is switch port access VLAN 2. And how we know the VLAN 2 is the typical outside port, and this have a security of level 0. And the next command is no shutdown to up the interface. Then we have to configure the interface VLAN 2. This is the typical outside port. No, sorry, that was the VLAN 2. And the VLAN 1 is the typical inside port. And by obviously these have a level 100 of security. And we bring them a name, and by this way we can identify it. So the command is nameif, and the name we would like to put in. Then just we have to add to the bridge group, and both VLAN are in the group 1, and of the same way we name it. Then continue this command. Wait, so until this point the firewall doesn't work by a transparent mode. Only we configure it, but really it doesn't working on this way. So the next step, we have to permit or deny what type of traffic can come inside. So we assign the IP address, and we enable the HTTP server. So we can do it with these 2 lines, and it's too easy to configure and doesn't give us problems. And there we have a IP address that permits us to leave that all the traffic that's come from outside can get inside and request to our HTTP server. So these default IP addresses permit us that, and just we have to assign. The command is HTTP 0.0.0.0 and the mask is 0.0.0.0 and inside. How I say it permits any host connect to our server. And basically, this is all the configuration that we need to up our ASA firewall in a transparent mode, and is so recommendable that you make a backup of all your data, because this configuration reset all your firewall of the ASA device. And that's all by this video, and the configuration is too easy to do. So that's all.